From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Is the compromise immigration bill dead? House Republican leaders rescheduled their vote.
Could the light rail project break under pressure? City Council decides to take a second look at expansion designs.
Getting rid of unwanted prescription drugs, a simple program across the state that could help fight the opioid crisis.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Felipe Corral Jr.
And I'm Allison Snell. Thank you for joining us. After months of negotiations, House Republican leaders thought they had a path this week towards passing immigration reform.
But that deal started to unravel today as conservatives in the House bucked their own leadership and joined Democrats to kill one GOP-backed measure. Cronkite News reporter Pat Pobletti in our Washington bureau has been on Capitol Hill today following this developing story.
Even before the first vote, House Speaker Paul Ryan did not sound very optimistic about the chances of either Republican-backed bill passing.
Our goal was to prevent a discharge petition from reaching the floor, but a lot of our members want to be able to express themselves by voting for the policies that they like so that they can express their votes on the floor.
And express themselves they did. 41 Republicans joined all Democrats to reject the first proposal on a 193-231 vote this morning after several hours of debate. Arizona Representative Martha McSally was a co-sponsor of the bill and urged her colleagues to vote for it.
I strongly support passage of this legislation as the first significant proposal to solve these very serious issues that continue to impact communities in Arizona and the rest of the country.
The bill was favored by the conservative wing of the Republican Party. It met the four pillars President Donald Trump has demanded in any immigration bill: increasing border security, addressing the future of DACA recipients, cutting the diversary visa lottery, and ending family migration. Representative Debbie Lesko called it vital legislation for the state of Arizona.
My constituents back home know all too well how desperately we need our borders secured.
Arizona Republicans Paul Gosar and Andy Biggs, members of the Conservative Freedom Caucus, crossed the aisle to vote with Democrats to derail the bill, a bill Democrats say is too harsh and some Freedom Caucus members say is too lenient. A vote on a second, more moderate immigration bill, coined the Compromise Bill, put together by House leadership, was canceled after the first bill went up in flames today. Ryan called his caucus together behind closed doors this afternoon to plot a path forward. But even if they can agree, he said, any bill will face a fight in the Senate.
Even if we get something out of here, you need 9 Democrats to stop trying to stop things, and I don't see that happening.
The vote on the compromise bill is scheduled for tomorrow, but its chances are not looking very good. One GOP staffer told me this afternoon that unless Paul Ryan has a magic wand which he intends to use at tonight's meeting, the chances are that the compromise bill will get less votes than today's bill did. In Washington, Pat Pobletti, Cronkite News.
Customs and Border Protection institutes a new practice that it says will keep detained immigrant families together. The agency says that after parents have been prosecuted, they will be reunited with their children. The announcement implies that Border Patrol will hold on to the children until their parents return from court proceedings. Then they will be sent to detention together. In a surprise move, First Lady Melania Trump visited border facilities in Texas today. She received a first-hand look at the crisis and says she wants to help reunite kids with their parents.
I'm here to learn about your facility, and which I know you house children on a long-term basis. And I also like to ask you how I can help to these children to reunite with their families as quickly as possible.
During a cabinet meeting this afternoon, President Trump remained defiant. He says Democrats cause families to be separated because they don't believe in borders.
It's a whole big con job. In the meantime, people are suffering because of the Democrats. So we've created, and they've let it happen, a massive child smuggling industry. It's exactly what it's become.
President Trump went on to say that Democratic leaders can come to the White House to talk immigration, saying, quote, Senator Schumer and Nancy Pelosi can come over. They can bring whoever they want. As politicians have their war of words, protests continued across the country. Today, a demonstration at the U.S. Capitol had people in space blankets, the same kind that are passed out at holding facilities.
More rallies today in Arizona. Members from both the Latino and Indigenous communities spoke out about immigration and border policies. Reporter Emily Richardson spoke to both groups to see why they don't think the president's executive order goes far enough.
The Arizona Indigenous Peoples Caucus and Promise Arizona both spoke out against family separation at the border. The groups also said that even though Trump signed an executive order to end the separation of families, there's still more to be done.
Family reunification will only be an option for future asylum seekers or other immigrant families, but not to the 2,000 already in prison.
Community leaders from multiple organizations came forward today to condemn the recent actions at the United States-Mexico border and encourage citizens to stay outspoken about immigration issues.
I am really happy that the country, the people have moved the president to stop separating the families. But we must continue. We must continue to be indignant about what's happening at the border.
Puerto Rico Senator Carmelo Ríos Santiago joined Promise Arizona to explain why he believes Trump's executive order is just a Band-Aid.
What is the solution to the problem? What is the comprehensive immigration reform that we've been promised for the last year and a half? Those are questions that do not have an answer. So probably patching the problem for now. It will still be here in August. It will still be here at the election cycle again.
And the members of the Indigenous Peoples Caucus called their fellow Indigenous people to action.
This is still the sacred land of the tribes, and this is still Indian country. And non-action is not an option for us.
The state lawmakers also want to be able to tour detention centers in Arizona to make sure they're suitable for families and children. In the broadcast center, Emily Richardson, Cronkite News.
The Phoenix City Council wants more community outreach on the light rail extension into South Phoenix. It was a chaotic turn of events at the meeting. Andrew Christensen explains what this could mean to the project.
The Phoenix City Council voted to ask Valley Metro to explore a 4-lane option. Valley Metro told Cronkite News that they would be sharing those options with South Phoenix residents, but they also urged that vegetation and bike lanes could be limited. They also urged that if engineering did not begin by August, that they could be losing federal funding.
Jeers heard during much of the meeting between South Phoenix residents and the Phoenix City Council. The topic, extending the light rail into South Phoenix, reducing lanes in the community.
The problem is with the design of the light rail. This is the problem. We're not allowed to let the light rail come in and reduce the lane of traffic in Central Avenue. We're not specifically against the light rail. We are against the design of the light rail.
One more concern South Phoenix residents expressed, not being informed.
And then we weren't notified to put our vote in. We weren't at those meetings because we didn't know about it. So if we could do the pause, we're open to other options, moving into doing the 4 lanes.
The meeting quickly turned, with Councilman Sal DeCiccio calling out Acting Mayor Williams.
I would like you to place your job on the line for a
I don't believe that's on this agenda. You're ruled out of order, Senator.
Okay, but that's what should occur here. The city manager has done it purposely. He's gone behind people's back. He has purposely created a management.
Councilman, then you are out of order.
The meeting turned back to the light rail extension, with Councilman Michael Nowakowski favoring the light rail, but agreeing that changes need to be made.
I believe in the light rail, but I believe that everybody should have a vested interest in talking about what they like to see and what their dreams are for this light rail project.
Construction is expected to begin next year in 2019, with the expansion opening in 2023. In downtown Phoenix, Andrew Christensen, Cronkite News.
The 2 council members running for mayor released statements about the light rail meeting. Kate Gallego, representing District 8, said in part, "I am deeply disappointed in yesterday's vote, which jeopardizes a much-needed investment in the community I represent."
Daniel Valenzuela, representing District 5, says There is a potential the city risks losing hundreds of millions of dollars in federal money. However, I feel confident that staff and Valley Metro will make an honest attempt to listen to residents to try and resolve their concerns while keeping the project on track to meet important deadlines. Coming up on Cronkite News, how to safely get rid of unwanted drugs.
Plenty of people have expired prescription medicine in the house. Up next, the state expands a program that allows you to get rid of the pills in a proper manner.
And later, millions of Americans are living with Alzheimer's, why so many use the summer solstice as a time to raise awareness and money to fight the disease.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles. In Cleveland.
In Washington. In Louisville.
From Jerusalem.
Live in Philadelphia. From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
Opioid addiction is a major concern everywhere. CVS pharmacies here in Arizona are expanding its safe medicine disposal program.
It allows customers to discard pills they no longer need. Cronkite News reporter Kevin Fleshman spoke with local law enforcement on how this program can help fight a deadly epidemic.
Opioids are blamed for nearly 1,400 deaths here in Arizona over the past year, according to the Department of Health Services. Now, CVS Pharmacy is expanding its safe medication program that will allow customers to safely discard of any expired or unused prescriptions they no longer use. Attorney General Mark Brenovich said they know opioid addiction impacts many families.
We know the opioid crisis here in Arizona is tearing families apart. We've seen recent statistics that show that 3 Arizonans die every single day as a result of opioid overdoses.
CVS is expanding a safe medication disposal program to 13 other Valley locations. Customers may drop off their unused prescriptions to boxes like these. The Phoenix Police Department says getting rid of unused medication can help stop the cycle of addiction.
The Phoenix Police Department has always been and continues to be in a position where we do whatever we can to stop drug abuse. But also we often fail to realize drug misuse, and that's where much of this starts. When someone takes one pill, one Oxycontin, one oxycodone, many times not prescribed to them, they don't realize the path that they're going down.
A path that can lead to opioid addiction, heroin addiction, and even overdose.
Drug addiction, drug abuse, drug misuse is a community problem. Together we can make a difference.
In Phoenix, Kevin Fleischman, Cronkite News.
In addition to the added kiosks, CVS is also awarding 2 grants. It is giving $25,000 to ICANN to support the Chandler Youth Service Organization's substance abuse program. El Rio Health in Tucson will receive $85,000 to provide education in managing chronic pain. You can do just about anything in Arizona, including going to school for horse racing.
Coming up, a program that has been at odds on favorite for decades. It's innovative, successful, and one of a kind. That's the trifecta for a different kind of college degree.
It is currently 109 here in Phoenix, but temperatures are on the rise, so stay tuned for your full 7-day weather forecast.
This is my last broadcast as the anchor man of the CBS Evening News, and that's the way it is.
Carrying on the baton of those who came before us, our superb team of journalists, writers, reporters, editors, producers work each and every week to tell the stories critical to you. For Arizona news that matters, tune into Cronkite News weeknights at 5 on Arizona PBS.
I'm Matt Berry, ESPN Sports Center anchor and graduate of ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. With its bachelor's and master's degrees in sports journalism, the Cronkite School is preparing the next generation of sports journalists to tell stories that matter, stories that excite, inspire, and inform. Cronkite immerses students in covering sports at all levels in one of the country's top sports markets. It's this hands-on experience under the guidance of award-winning sports media veterans that shape the top journalists of tomorrow.
Officially from 36, and he hooks it in. Arizona State wins. Keeping one deep, and it is caught. Jalen Strong. Do you believe it?
Millions of people die every year from drinking dirty water. I would never have felt I had the ability to do something without ASU pushing me. We built filtration systems out of local materials with the people. To see those kids drink clean water for the first time, it's the most rewarding feeling that you can ever have. I went to ASU because I wanted to change the world. The thing I never would have expected is how the world would have changed me.
The longest day of the year is here. Today is the summer solstice, and it marks the first official day of summer. The summer solstice takes place when the sun is at the highest and northernmost point in the sky. In Phoenix, the daylight lasts for about 14 hours and 22 minutes.
With it being the summer solstice, the Alzheimer's Association wants everyone to get involved in their event, The Longest Day Ever. Reporter Jordan Daphnis explains what the event is and why it's important.
The Longest Day event is a fundraiser that takes place on the longest day of the year. Participants pick an event and invite friends and family to join and donate. Kathy and Jean have been together for more than 20 years. At age 55, Jean was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease.
It was probably 2 to 3 years that we started noticing issues with memory and forgetting things and misplacing things. First it was her shoes, then it was her keys.
The two had a lot of plans for their future. Alzheimer's was not one of them.
Jean was actually looking forward to retiring and finding out something new, what she wanted to do and whether she loved to cook, and we considered doing food trucks and traveling and just had all these dreams of what was the next chapter, never knowing that this would be our next chapter.
But this next chapter is by no means a sad one.
We have so much joy in our life and happiness and laughter, and we were determined that this isn't going to steal it from us.
Kathy says Jean not only has joy, but also strength.
She's a warrior.
Yeah.
And Alzheimer's just messed with the wrong person.
The two are participating in the Longest Day Ever event for the second time. Last year they played board games. This year,
we're going to do a movie night. That's what we're doing this year.
The Alzheimer's Association created this event to honor the long day that Alzheimer's patients and their caregivers have every day.
So this is the one day of the year that we can actually do something for them to honor their strength, their endurance, and the love that they have for those individuals.
Arizona has the second fastest diagnostic growth rate for Alzheimer's in the country. On the digital desk, Jordan Daphnis, Cronkite News.
Phoenix needs bottled water. Posted on the city's website is an immediate need to donate water for heat relief. The city has already handed out nearly 200,000 bottles of water since the We're Cool Heat Relief Network kicked off in May. Mayor Thelda Williams says there is an immediate need of bottled water at all of the city's 44 hydration and cooling locations. It is the first official day of summer, and it's hot out there.
The valley is under an excessive heat warning until tomorrow night. Hannah DeRuiter has your weather forecast.
Thanks, Felipe. Now, although it may not seem like it, today was the official start of summer, so happy first day of summer, everyone. It's currently 109 and sunny here in Phoenix. Now, taking a look at the temperatures across the valley. In Scottsdale and in Chandler, they're at 106, Glendale 109, and in Goodyear 108. Now, as temperatures are rising, that is cause for an excessive heat warning to be issued. It is effective now until tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Now, as you can see, it is going to affect mainly the southern and the northwestern region of our state. Taking a look at the highs for today, in Phoenix, we are at our high right now at 109. Over in Quartzsite, their high was 110. Up in the Grand Canyon, 94. And in Tucson, 105 was their high. Now, temperatures are not going to let up because tomorrow we are going to see a high of 111, and the triple digits do continue throughout the week and on to next weekend, or on next week, I'm sorry. On Tuesday and Wednesday, we're hitting a high of 109, and on Thursday, 108. Be sure to stay cool and stay hydrated because the heat is getting stronger. For Cronkite Weather, I'm Hannah DeRuiter.
We are hitting the home stretch of the newscast.
And you don't want to miss the finish. Up next, how the future of horse racing is being built at an Arizona college campus.
I like working for Cronkite News because it gives us the opportunity to find a different angle on the same stories that every other news outlet is covering across Arizona. As students, we have the opportunity to cover issues all across the state of Arizona.
It gives me a good chance to sharpen my skills, improve my skills, learn the techniques in a newsroom and in the programs and teamwork and technology, getting me prepared for the real world. And at the same time, I think we do a great job, make some great stories, do great journalism for the city of Phoenix and state of Arizona.
I'm Ted Simons, host and managing editor of Arizona Horizon. Join us each weekday at 5:30 and 10 as we bring you the top newsmakers who impact the state. We cover the stories in depth that shape and affect our local communities, and we take the time to ensure that all voices are equally heard. For more than 30 years, Arizona Horizon has been your voice and your source for what matters most, right here on Arizona PBS.
If you're looking for one show that tells you what happened that day in the world of business, it's NBR.
We saw a classic shipwreck.
Nordstrom's opening stores.
Triple-digit gains.
Crude climbs.
We're there to help our audience find new investment ideas.
The market still has room to go up.
Nightly Business Report is the longest-running business television program in history.
Weeknights at 10:30 on Arizona PBS.
Nogales native Bob Baffert became just the second trainer in horse racing history to win a second Triple Crown when Justified took home the Belmont Stakes earlier this month.
Reporter Stephanie Shields went down to Tucson to visit the small program at the University of Arizona, where Baffert's journey to horse racing legend began.
Bob Baffert graduated from the racetrack industry program at the University of Arizona in 1977. His alumni status inspires a new generation to earn an education in the business of the sport. Zach Taylor and Abel Zander grew up loving horse racing and the business behind it. This passion inspired them to pursue an education in horse racing at the University of Arizona's racetrack industry program.
Once I found out that Baffert and Pletcher were alums, it kind of made the program a lot more legitimate.
with racing legends Bob Baffert and Todd Pletcher as graduates, the RTIP is home to a one-of-a-kind degree program that creates a pathway for students to enter the horse racing business and everything from racetrack management to horse breeding.
You can just walk up to a wall of doors that are open for you when you come in here and just pick which one to go through.
Horse racing has been in steady decline across the country. According to data from IBIS World, revenue at horse tracks is down more than 20% since 2008. But RTIP Director Wendy Davis believes her program, whose enrollment has been relatively steady over that same time period, is well positioned to help the industry in the long term.
It really needed to have people who understood not just the horse side of it, but also the business side and the regulatory side to keep it moving forward.
The U of A Racetrack Industry Program gives students two options. They could focus either on the business side of the racehorse industry or work directly with training horses.
Even though they are separate paths, you can't have one without the other.
Graduates from the RTIP have seen success in diverse areas of the racing business, from the commercial manager of the Curragh in Ireland, the country's largest training center, to the senior vice president of racing operations for the New York Racing Association. Every December, the RTIP hosts a seminar that attracts worldwide recognition where students can meet with the industry's most influential leaders. In the Broadcast Center, Stephanie Shields, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on PBS NewsHour.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next NewsHour, making sense of esports and the big money behind fans filling stadiums to watch video games. That's Thursday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.